On today's show, is Ty Lue a good coach? I'm going to be bringing on some fans that have always had a lot to say about Ty Lue to go back and forth with me a bit and see if he really is a bad coach. Do their points have validity? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA. Just finished my 20th season as a Clipper fan. Been covering the team for 5 years on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Hit the notification bell to get us up to 8,000 subscribers. And, of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcast. And this episode is brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Head on over to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. All right, today's episode is going to be kind of a special one, kind of like a radio call-in style thing, where I'm going to have two fans that have been critical of Ty Lue debate me a little bit, or just give their points, and I'll see if I want to even debate them, of why they think Ty Lue should either go or the criticism that they have of him. And then at the end, I'll be giving my conclusion after the two fans have made their argument. So first, going to be bringing in our first fan, a member of the Swell. You can sometimes find him in my vlogs. He's never afraid to get critical of his team. It's Edward Vera. Edward, welcome to Locked On, a proud listener, and I'm excited to have a listener on as always.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for bringing me on. Appreciate it.
So you were part of the Swell this season, part of the – first off, let's start positive before we go into Ty Lue.
Yeah.
What did you think of the experience in the Swell and, the home court advantage?
I thought it was amazing.
Okay.
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was a great idea. From the first moment, they thought it up. It actually worked. We kept the opponent's free throws down. So all that was great. The atmosphere was great. And Ty Lue, he's not a bad coach. He did a good job, but it's like, when are you just too average, right? When are you just not good enough?
So do you think that time has come? Do we want to go a different direction, even though the players seem to really endorse him?
Personally, I think the time has come. I mean, he's gotten his shot with healthy teams. He hasn't gotten us to the finals. He hasn't gotten us a championship. I understand that, Kawhi has been hurt, this and that, but we had a shot this season. I felt good about us, and we couldn't even get past the first round again. So it's like, how many times do we keep doing this same old thing? I mean, he's pretty much another Doc Rivers. Everything that Doc Rivers did wrong, he's doing the same old thing.
Okay, he's had one season with Kawhi healthy, and that was this past season, right? The other ones he was not.
Right. But
so
I mean,
all these chances you're talking about, he's had one chance.
Listen, he's a good coach, but I just feel like it hasn't worked, right? And when can we say it's enough? Kawhi has 2 more years on his contract. We didn't get past the first round this year. What's different next year?
No, I feel you on that part, but okay. So, are you telling me that Ty deserves? I'm not saying he's exempt of blame. He definitely made some mistakes in this series.
Yeah,
but does he deserve more blame than any of the players? Was our roster better than the Denver Nuggets?
I think so.
Okay,
I think so. Yes, Jokic is the best player in the world, but we had an overall better team than them, and we got outcoached.
We got outcoached. How did they outcoach us? I want you to tell me, how did Adam Link outcoach us? Maybe first off, do you acknowledge that it's hard?
He believed in it. I mean, he believed in his guys, man. He believed in his guys. And
how are you telling me Ty Lue didn't believe in his guys?
I mean, I just feel like some guys can dictate the message to their players better than others. And when you would look into the huddle and David Adelman or whatever his name is, you could feel that passion. You know what I mean? And when you listen to Ty Lue, I just feel like he's too nonchalant. You know what I mean? I feel like he's been to the mountain already. He's won everything, and he's too content. And I want a guy that hasn't won anything. And everybody in the NBA that's made a coaching change has improved. Dallas, they made a coaching change. They went to the finals. Pacers, they're in the finals. New York, they haven't had a winning series since 2000. They made it to the Western Conference or Eastern Conference Finals. David Adelman took OKC to 7 games. So it's like
that's the same thing that last year they lost in 7 games in the second round too.
But they have a new coach.
Yeah, they have a new coach because clearly the message wasn't being received by the players in Denver anymore. But these players seem to be receiving Ty Lue's message. I mean, you're saying that what was the thing you just said, that they're not responding? I understand wanting like a more raw coach. Ty Lue's definitely more on the laid back category. But like Phil Jackson was the Zen master. He was a laid back. I'm not trying to compare Ty Lue.
I mean, yeah, but then when it was time for Phil Jackson to turn it up, when it was time to hit Paul Gasol in the chest and be like, "Hey, we need you." When have you ever seen Ty Lue do that?
Well, apparently Ty Lue did that. Remember, there's that video of him yelling at LeBron saying "Stop being a baby" or something. It happened with LeBron. That was part of the reason why,
I don't think that had anything to do with them winning that championship, though. I mean, that was pure LeBron's greatness.
So now now we're giving all the credit to the players and we're giving no credit to the coach. And now you're blaming it all on the coach. What about Kawhi? It's not like you've been Mr. Defending of Kawhi the whole time. What about he and Harden? Because do you acknowledge that putting ourselves in a game 7 put us in a tough position, like to go on the road and win a game 7?
Why not make a sub game 4? Why not put a big man in? Why
for the last possession?
Yes. Why stay small?
That part is totally valid. I completely question that as well.
But how many times has he done that though? How many times has he not made that sub where you're like, bring this guy in? Why are you playing this guy too much?
Okay, if you're talking about throughout his entire tenure as coach, a bunch, but it's not like
through his entire tenure.
But it's not like a coach is going to be flawless either. They're going to make mistakes.
They are going to make mistakes. I do get that. But how many mistakes are we going to allow him to make? I mean, we don't have any more time.
In the playoffs, I agree. He made the Dallas series hard for us in 2021. He let Zubac get torched in pick and roll those first 2 games.
I think we could have won that series.
We did win that. I'm talking about
the following series. I think we could have beat Dallas that year.
2024?
Even with Kawhi going down, I think we could have won that.
How is it Ty Lue's fault that Paul George averaged 19 points?
Just maybe not playing other guys enough. Maybe not believing in other guys enough. Maybe not telling guys to stop shooting threes and give the ball to Zubac more. You know what I mean?
We hadn't played through Zoo like that all season, but I feel you. I mean, that was something we've been critical of him for. But we had Paul George, we had James Harden, we had a lot of mouths to feed. I mean, we did give it to Zubac a lot in game 1, and he had a pretty good series in against Dallas. But so the players don't get any blame. I mean,
the players get blamed too, because again, Ty Lue can't go out there and make the shots, but you can pull the guys. You can, put different guys. I mean, you got to do something, right?
Who played well? And I mean, we used the guys. I mean, I don't know who you're talking about. Amir Coffey, he's the only one that didn't play. You can't tell me that it's Ty's fault for Norman Powell breaking all those shots. Bogdanovich didn't hit a shot till game 3. Like, I don't know if that's Ty Lue's fault. You could say, should he have played him more? I don't know. It felt like those guys got their run.
I mean, maybe he could have told them, hey, stop shooting so much. Maybe be smarter on the shots. I get it. Shooters got to shoot, but it's like
pass up open threes, though. This is very unspecific.
When are you going to tell your guys to stop shooting threes and attack the basket? When are you going to stop trying to be like everybody else and make your own game plan, right? Why are we falling in love with this 3-ball ISO game?
Because our guys are ISO guys, James Harden and Kawhi.
But he's got to be able to implement a plan that works with these guys. And it's just like
it worked to 50 games. We were up 2-1 in the series playing this way.
I get it. And yes, this is going to sound crazy, but 50 games in the Western Conference is average. Is it not?
We finished above 10
and I
other
get it.
teams.
I get it. We didn't have Kawhi, but we still had a solid team.
We overachieved because Harden's pick and roll.
We did overachieve, but we found out how great Zubac was, right?
Yeah.
I feel we're too middle of the table, and Ty Lue's not going to get us past that.
So do you think Ty Lue, last question, do you think Ty Lue is a bigger problem than any of the stars that we have?
I think so. I think if we could get some new blood, just some new vision, a new voice.
Who would that be?
I think it could work.
Brian Shaw?
I didn't say Brian Shaw. I mean Jeff Van Gundy, I would say Jeff Van Gundy because he's already been there with the guys. He knows the guys. He can implement his own plan. But I mean, if we're thinking outside the box, I mean, there's great coaches out there. Let's stop saying like there's nobody out there. We can't get. People have gotten fired. There's opportunity out there. But if we're not looking, then it's going to be the same old thing every single year.
Would you take Michael Malone? He said you wanted someone that doesn't have a ring.
I would take Michael Malone, definitely. But I would take Jeff Van Gundy just because he's already been there. So why let somebody like that go already?
Does he want to be a head coach?
I mean, why would you come back just to be an assistant?
Because it's less stressful for him, maybe. He doesn't have to do all the media stuff.
But he still has to be there every single game.
He likes that. I think I'm curious to see if Jeff Van Gundy even wants to head coach again. I'm not totally sold on it because do you think he couldn't have gotten a head coaching job off the bat? It's not like people don't respect him.
Maybe the head coaching jobs that he wanted, didn't want him. And, maybe this was his way in and he took it. So, but I mean, I'm not going to say Ty Lue is a bad coach. He's done great. But when is enough, right? When can we say, okay, you've been good, but, we want to test something different?
Well, let everybody know where they can find you, Edward. I appreciate the conversation.
Clipper Edward on all platforms.
Thank you, brother. And coming up, going to be joined by another fan. We'll see if they make similar points. Going to be talking to him coming up. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live. With player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays, fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you've got a read on who's heating up, why not back it up with a same-game parlay? The Indiana Pacers are still plus 265 to win the NBA championship. So if you want to bet on them and you're feeling good about it after game one, go ahead. The odds are still good. New to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. Joining me now is another fan who's always been vocal about his opinion of Ty Lue. He has once been known as the king of the most negative side of Clipper Twitter, which I guess I've been thrown into as well over the years. He runs spaces here and there for Clipper fans on Twitter, and he's a local Clipper fan. You might have seen him in my vlogs as well. Mr. DJ, thanks so much for joining me again. I think you were actually on a pod for one time talking about us getting James Harden, and it happened.
It was getting James, getting Russ, and talking about how that combination was supposed to work out, and it, years later.
Well, let's talk about Ty Lue, though. You've been pretty critical of Ty Lue. Let me just ask you, do you think his time is up? Is it time to go a different direction?
I think for Ty Lue, his time is determined on next season, in my belief. And it feels like the hot seat isn't just on him, but more so on Lawrence too. Like, what are you going to do to try and give this team another boost? You see a lot of names coming for the Clippers. Everybody's trying about going after Giannis, go after KD now, the biggest name. My thing is, there's a way that you can help Ty Lue from being Ty Lue. Like you can tie proof the roster.
And what does that
You got to take away some of the guards.
mean?
There's
Okay.
too many guard lineups that I think for a lot of us, if we've seen how Tom Thibodeau, even though he got fired, we saw how he put in defensive lineups on last possessions to stop teams. And I questioned him on Twitter, like, did Ty Lue ever do this? And everybody said no. We never once saw finishing the game with the defensive lineup. We always saw the game finish with Harden, Norm, Kawhi, Zoo, and either Batum or Dunn was the main finishers. A lot of the times you were still too small. When they brought in Batum, it was tall, but he couldn't match what AG was given, and we just couldn't match their intensity, and we were still too small, in my opinion. So tie proofing the roster is probably one of the best things that you can do to at least see if maybe if you do tie proof it and you get the right pieces and kind of force tie to play with what you got, then maybe there's a good chance that it's like, oh, okay. Now he knows how to use these guys because he's being forced to. Don't give him a choice to use multiple guards. Make him be forced to use wings, and then you'll probably see some better outcomes.
So you think it's more about roster construction is what I'm hearing is the problem? Because I see what you're saying. He can be married to guards.
hmm
More about a roster construction fix, and you wouldn't go a different direction.
I think it's roster construction, and I think it's how you use them. I think Ty needs to understand, like, for me, look at the season how it ended. The Clippers offense got better, but I think it feels like the team also went like, oh, our offense is clicking now, so let's just ignore our defense and not rely on that, even though you know me, I'm a guy that loves defense. I'm a firm believer that defense wins championships, and I'm a firm believer that defense creates your offense. If you're talking about a team that's going to be trying to make it all the way there, you should at least try and focus on what you're good at more so than what you're trying to create.
Well, do
We
you think?
created too much offense.
Well,
Like
okay.
we tried to create too much offense. Yeah.
Do you think? I mean, our defense in the Denver series wasn't too great, but of course their offense is different. Do you think we went with too offensive minded of lineups? Is what you're saying?
Yeah. We went with too much of trying to get these guys going. If it feels for me like offense, it feels like it's a side of the basketball game to where it's too much hope bent on it. Like there's too much hope bent on these players to constantly hit shots. You know, when your shot goes up, it's 50-50. You're not always guaranteed an instant make. But on defense, that's more so of an easier thing to work with and an easier thing to put effort into because that's just putting your body in front of another player and just trying to make sure that if I can't score, you can't score. That was my mentality going into the season when we started the season.
The thing is, though, we weren't making threes, right? And
hmm
you did give Chris Dunn some minutes. So, what lineup combinations could you be talking about that would give us the defense? Because we couldn't make shots either, DJ.
Yeah, the shots, and that's another thing. Ty Lue isn't at fault for the players not missing for missing shots. That's on Chris Dunn not being as strong as a 3-point shooter that we saw coming into the games. He was on a good streak of like 10, I believe, 12-ish games of hitting like 38% plus from three. But in the playoffs, he kind of fell off. And then DJJ as well. So it does suck when your two best POA guys aren't really being a threat on the other side of the ball offensively as much as they are defensively.
So, overall conclusion, you're down for Ty Lue to stay another year. Just improve the roster a bit. Get a little bigger.
Tie proof the roster, get a little bigger, force him to where he has no choice but to play bigs that can be a solid threat defensively and enough consistently on the offensive end. And I think you can probably see him be like, okay, I can't go small. Let me use these guys. And you might see a lot more better consistent lineups and a lot more games to where you don't see the Clippers get picked on for their size. As good as Norman Powell was offensively, when it came to the defensive side, especially after his injury, he wasn't working. He became an easy target. Chris Dunn, even though he's a great defender, he became an easy target. And it sucked because you had a lot of length on the bench that you could have used, but you were so focused on offense, it was like, I need my guards, which I understand. but don't rely on them too much to where it's like you're going to pretend that they're not struggling in a pivotal game 7 or pivotal game 5, 4. Norm did not have a good series at all. Dunn had an okay series. He could have been better offensively, but he was never a strong 3-point shooter. Then Bogey was a no-show, and then Harden had a great series until game 7. So my thing is, all those guys got played more than DJJ, Nick Batum, and even though Ben Simmons can't shoot, he still has a lot of good height that would have been useful in a lot of possessions to where resting Zoo and just kind of trusting to just lean on your defensive lineups in those moments would have been nice to see. That's a choice on Ty Lue. The players scoring is also going to be on the players more so than Ty. How you set them up, sure. We saw lineups where he tried to get Norm his own lineup and Norm still failed. That's not on Ty. That will be on Norm because he couldn't provide in the lineups that benefited and suited you being the 1A guy, which is what struggled for him because when he came back, he was fourth. You had Kawhi, you had Harden, and you had Zoo. Out of all those 4 options, you're going to be fourth. And he fell to his own, personal need to be the 1A guy to where if he's not getting the ball as much as he needs, he's not going to provide. And that in turn affected his defense because now he's just out of rhythm on both ends. You got to go big. I feel like we've said it before. The Clippers have never really had a real 4 until we had Morris and Batum in the 2020-21 season. That was why we were so successful. Now we don't. Now we need to get one because you're looking at all these other teams that are having their little versions of twin towers or tall enough bigs in depth, and they are working those teams in the paint, getting constant possessions, creating rebounds, getting defensive rebounds. You need height. You need guys that know how to bang and down low inside. We don't have enough of that right now, if any at all.
Yeah. Well, appreciate it, DJ. Let people know where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter with this name right here, Mr. DJF_Primal. I'm a nice guy. I'll let you talk in the spaces. Don knows he can talk. Honestly, people love you, Don. Like, they be like, where's Don Dropper at? But they know where to find you on here. I'll tell them to come find you. But if you want to listen to the Clipper Spaces, that's the name right there on Twitter. And we'll be branching out doing more on TikTok as well soon.
Appreciate it, DJ. Thank you so much, as always.
Appreciate you, boss.
All right. So, in conclusion, I was surprised that DJ wanted Ty Lue still, or was just saying, let's make some adjustments. Let's just not give him too many guards to experiment with or to play at once. Honestly, I was pretty surprised. I thought he was going to be a lot harder in the, let's get Ty Lue out of here direction. So I thought he made some good points. As far as Edward, he made some good points as well. However, I thought he threw a lot of the cliches out there at me. He just didn't get his guys motivated. Like, I just don't know about that. Like, we've had people have questioned the emotion. It sounded like he wanted more rah-rah energy, and Ty Lue's not a rah-rah guy. But Kawhi's not a rah-rah guy. James Harden's not really that. So we just lack that kind of personality on the team. And I think that's more important than having a laid-back coach. He's saying that he doesn't hold the guys accountable. Maybe he's too nice. I mean, look, half the battle these days especially is getting along with these players. It's a different generation. It's a different era. Some of the old school tactics don't fly like that with the new guys. If you want to leave it up to me, somebody younger, I think every generation is just getting softer. Like, that's just how, not necessarily like physically, but like from the way society is. Now, I don't like what we consider old school is tough. Like, that shouldn't be the case. That we're just saying old school training or old school practice is like tough. Like, no, I don't know. But anyway, so I don't know if that's Ty's. He's never going to be that kind of coach, in my opinion. But I did mention that incident with LeBron James where he held him accountable. And we don't know a lot of what Edward was saying. We don't know what goes on behind the scenes. We don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. He has motivated the team to have a 50-win record. Ty Lue has. If we're talking motivation, 50-win record, and our effort level was really solid on a nightly basis. Of course, in the playoffs, we didn't bring it. But I would blame Ty Lue more for the guard stuff And although DJ was saying, we didn't play defensive lineups, but I don't know about that. We were missing open threes more than anything. I mean, our defense wasn't great, but it's kind of hard to guard the Nuggets. And I think sometimes the best defense against the Nuggets is offense because you don't let them get in transition. So I don't know. Just again, I don't think these arguments were strong enough for me. Edward said Michael Malone. I don't know if Michael Malone's personality would get along with Harden and Kawhi. And that's important. Jeff Van Gundy. Well, I mean, I would love if Jeff Van Gundy was the head coach. I wouldn't mind that at all, but does he even want to be a head coach? So I don't know. Didn't get his guys motivated, got out coached. I don't think there were any strong arguments there. But I do think the playing the certain lineup at the end of game 4 is relevant, and Ty Lue needs to take blame for that. Absolutely. So in conclusion, I don't think there's a strong enough argument to get rid of Ty. I don't know if he's a top 10 coach in the league, but I would definitely put him top 15. He's still a championship coach. And most importantly, for what Clippers management cares about, he gets along with the players. I don't think he's going anywhere, especially on his current contract. But I appreciate the fans that came on. And if you want to be a fan that wants to talk about this subject, well, I don't know. Might have to meet me in person or something, because I don't know if I'm going to put on just random guys. No offense. Guys that I can trust, guys that I know, I've talked to in real life. So, or maybe even the internet. If I've talked to you in like a space or a video call, that works as well. But yeah, I might do this kind of stuff again. Next episode on Saturday, we're going to have a very special guest. So I'm excited for that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Dime Dropper Pod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper, LA sports, and NBA content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification bell, and listen wherever you get your podcasts. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.